Five Nights at Freddy's is an indie horror franchise made by Scott Cawthon, and it has some pretty confusing lore. In this video, I will try to solve the lore and put it into a coherent timeline. Disclaimer, this is all a theory, and don't take this into account of being the actual timeline, as the lore will never be solved. With this out of the way, let's get into it. In the late 70s to the early 80s, Henry Emily and his good friend William Afton found Fazbear Entertainment and make a small diner called Fredbear's Family Diner. Both men were mechanical geniuses and made two springlock suits that could be worn like a costume or be an animatronic. The suits were a rabbit called Spring Bonnie and a bear called Fredbear. The success of Fredbear's leads to a sister location being opened called Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. The success doesn't change how a man thinks, though. William, despite being a wealthy and a family man, had the urge to murder. One night he wore the Spring Bonnie suit and murdered 5 kids, causing a missing persons incident. William put the victims into the withered animatronics possessing the suits. William felt too much adrenaline and created Circus Baby and the Funtime animatronics for more victims, and opened a new restaurant called the Circus Baby's Pizza World. One day, though, William's daughter Elizabeth went to see Circus Baby against her father's orders. Elizabeth died, and when William couldn't find her anywhere, he knew how big his mistake was. He forbid his sons Michael and the crying child from seeing the animatronics and closes down the restaurant. Elsewhere, Edwin Murray, a Fazbear Entertainment engineer, built the Mimic 1 to take care for his son David when he was working for Fazbear Entertainment. One day, however, while Edwin was working on the Mimic, David is hit by a van and passes away. Edwin is in depression for 2 weeks. After that, when he saw that the Mimic was mimicking David's hand movements, Edwin bats the Mimic 1 with a metal rod until it is destroyed. The Mimic remembers this violence and carries that for years. Months later, part of the Fazbear team goes to Edwin's warehouse and finds the Mimic. They repair its legs, and the Mimic murders the team with the rod that Edwin battered with. Another team comes, but it is also murdered. Another team comes, but it make it out alive and is put in every location onward. Remember this, as it will be important later. The crying child disobeys his father's orders and continues to go to see Fredbear and Spring Bonnie,
which enraged his father, who punished
him by setting bear endoskeletons with a special illusion disc that plays a sound at such a high frequency that is beyond the human hearing to distort anyone's mind to seeing things that aren't there. The crying child woke one night, and after that night, for 5 nights, had to defend himself from the illusions until his birthday party at Fredbear's, which he didn't want to go to. To torment him even more, Michael and his friends put him into Fredbear's mouth. The tears from the crying child caused the mouth to snap shut, resulting in the bite of eating 3 and the crying child's death. The crying child would have nightmares from the past 5 nights with new animatronic Nightmare until he finally passed away due to his injuries. William is furious at Michael and destroys Fredbear and starts drinking as a result of the deaths of his 2 children. Fredbear closes down and Henry splits from William. Henry makes all the animatronics in Freddy Fazbear's Pizza have a new security system and makes new toy animatronics of the main cast: Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy. Toy Foxy is pulled apart, though, and the employees stop putting it back together and calls it Mangle. Henry also builds the security puppet to protect his daughter, Charlie. William hears about the new upgrades and goes to see what has changed, but is turned away by Henry himself. In a drunken rage, William drives back home, makes a new plan. Charlie is locked out of the pizzeria, and then when she sees William, she thinks he's going to be okay. But William murders her in cold blood. The puppet eventually finds Charlie outside and begins to break down in the rain. Charlie's soul then possesses the puppet. William then goes into the pizzeria wearing the Spring Bonnie costume again, murdering another five. And this time, the five possess the toy animatronics and Balloon Boy with the help of the puppet. The mimic sees William's murders, and now remember this for later. The place closes down a few days after a final party in the Bite of 87, where Mangle bit down on someone, presumably Jeremy the night guard. The toy animatronics were scrapped, and the withered animatronics were transported to the new Freddy's location and were fixed up. William sends Michael to retrieve Circus Baby from his other place called Circus Baby's Entertainment and Rentals, and after a few nights, Michael is scooped and possessed by Enid. Michael then throws up Enid in a gutter and still, for some reason, lives. Michael then works at Freddy's until he's fired. William, now realizing that the animatronics are possessed, goes to destroy the animatronics. This results in the souls being released. William, horrified, climbs into the old Spring Bonnie suit and, because of the water leaking from the old roof, dies up from a spring lock failure. Henry then closes the restaurant. Henry then makes Lefty to capture the puppet, which stood for lure, encapsulate, fuse, transport, and extract. "30 years later, in 2023, Fazbear's Frights is opened and Michael is employed to work there. William reawoke after the 30 years of being trapped. Michael realizes this and plans to burn the place down, but gets cold feet. His younger brother made him have nightmares that he had and reminders about his mission to defeat his father. Eventually, Michael burns the place down, but not after a fight with William, where Michael hit William in the arm with a fire axe. All the spirits, except for Cassidy, who is the other child possessing Fredbear with the crying child, and Charlie rejoice that William is burning. Michael was soon approached by Henry to run his own pizzeria and forms Freddy Fazbear's Pizza Place. Lefty captured the puppet around this time. Circus Baby was ejected from Enid and formed Scrap Baby, while Enid formed Molten Freddy. William rebuilt the parts of the Spring Bonnie suit that was damaged in the fire, fixing the feet, but keeping the mouth in its mostly damaged state, but making 2 buck teeth. Michael checked the alleyway and found William, Lefty, Scrap Baby, and Molten Freddy, and survived until Saturday when everything ended. William entered where Michael was and started bashing his head into his monitor. Then out of nowhere, Lefty barges through and fights William. It's William versus Charlie. Michael tries to flee through the vents, but William gets the better of Charlie and goes after Michael, and then it...
Connection terminated. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Elizabeth, if you still even remember that name. But I'm afraid you've been misinformed. You are not here to receive a gift, nor have you been called here by the individual you assume, although you have indeed been called. You have all been called here, into a labyrinth of sounds and smells, misdirection, and misfortune. A labyrinth with no exit, a maze with no prize. You don't even realize that you are trapped. Your lust for blood has driven you in endless circles, chasing the cries of children in some unseen chamber, always seeming so near, yet somehow out of reach. But you will never find them. None of you will. This is where your story ends. And to you, my brave volunteer, who somehow found this job listing not intended for you. Although there was a way out planned for you, I have a feeling that's not what you want. I have a feeling that you are right where you want to be. I am remaining as well. I am nearby. This place will not be remembered, and the memory of everything that started this can finally begin to fade away, as the agony of every tragedy should. And to you monsters trapped in the corridors, be still and give up your spirits. They don't belong to you. For most of you, I believe there is peace, and perhaps more, waiting for you after the smoke clears. Although for one of you, the darkest pit of hell has opened to swallow you whole. So don't keep the devil waiting, friend. My daughter, if you can hear me, I knew you would return as well. It's in your nature to protect the innocent. I'm sorry that on that day, the day you were shut out and left to die, No one was there to lift you up into their arms, the way you lifted others into yours. And then, what became of you? I should have known you wouldn't be content to disappear. Not my daughter. I couldn't save you then, so let me save you now. It's time to rest, for you, and for those you have carried in your arms. This ends, for all of us, in communication.
Henry sets the place alight, with everyone inside. William tries to get Michael's leg, but then Michael sees his deceased mum and his siblings. William yells at Michael to get over him so he can finish him off, but Michael walks into the light. William is burning in hell and isn't going anywhere good, but Cassidy had other plans to torment William in his own personal hell with all of his creations, and adding Dee Dee to have him fend off even more animatronics until Cassidy is met with old man consequences, who tells Cassidy to leave William to his demons and that she can rest her own soul. With Henry gone, Fazbear Entertainment does not know where to go. They have zero money and are about to go bankrupt. Meanwhile, a game developer makes a few games based on the myths and events of the pizzerias. Fazbear Entertainment takes notice of this and talks to the developer, and they agree to make a VR game. To make production of the game faster, Fazbear Entertainment scans in old circuit boards. One of these circuit boards that was scanned was from the spring bunny suit that William wore. The board was scanned to Help Wanted, and a game tester named Jeremy starts seeing a glitchy rabbit entity, which is a combination of code that mimics William's actions and the Mimic 1 code, known as Glitch Trap. William's thoughts and actions were being mimicked. Vanessa, a young woman in her 20s, has a growing concern for Jeremy until one day she walks on him dead. Vanessa starts playtesting where Jeremy left off, after learning that the game developer was employed by Fazbear Entertainment the whole time. Meanwhile, Fazbear Entertainment sends a cleanup crew to the ruined Freddy Fazbear's pizza place. While working there, a few men bring an endo with rabbit ears. They code the endo to dismantle the remaining animatronics. However, the endo with rabbit ears gets corrupted by the glitch trap virus, as well as the violence that is witnessed and murders the cleanup crew, but is sealed by concrete by another crew member. This endo is the Mimic 1 that was rebuilt. The tale of the Pizzaplex epilogues happen around these times as well. Vanessa sees the Glitch Trap virus and then has her mind taken over by Glitch Trap. Meanwhile, Gregory, a child, has his mind taken over by Glitch Trap as well. Vanessa goes to see therapists, but lies about her life. And then the therapists start to get close to discovering the truth. And then Glitch Trap takes over Gregory and then murders them. Vanessa then makes the Vanny mask and suit and goes on a murder spree in the newly built Freddy Fazbear's Mega Pizzaplex. Meanwhile, many other stories from Tales of the Pizzaplex occur, and Gregory escapes Glitch Trap's mind control. I never actually read any of the stories, but I know about the Mimic stories and the epilogues. While this is happening, Glitch Trap takes over some of the glam rock animatronics like Monty, Chica, and Roxy. One night, Glamrock Bonnie was lured into Gator Golf, where it was then dismantled by Monty, resulting in Monty becoming the main bassist. Before the rampage, Vanessa is told some words in William's voice.
Are you ready?
Now, this is where it gets confusing. I have 3 timelines that can be canon depending on what the next game or DLC that releases say. Theory 1. Child Gregory is trapped overnight at the Mega Pizzaplex, and with the help from Glamrock Freddy, he defeats Roxy, Chica, and Monty, and upgrades Freddy, all while avoiding Vanessa, who is now a security guard, and avoiding Vanny. Gregory and Freddy go down a sinkhole and discover Freddy Fazbear's pizza place underneath the Pizzaplex. Tangle, which is an amalgamation of the old animatronic parts, is something that Gregory and Freddy encounter along the way. Gregory and Freddy then fall through the floor and land in the room that Henry was in all those years ago. Then, out of a power station, there came a revived William, built from the remains of the Glamrock body and William's charred corpse with the help of Fanny and the glitch trap virus. Gregory fends off William until the building is relit, and William tries to escape but is grabbed by the neck by Tangle. The fire causes an earthquake underneath the pizza place, thus putting it in ruin. Gregory and Freddy escape, and the two are eventually called by Vanessa, and because William's glitch trap form has been transferred into Burn Trap, she is free from the control. Gregory and Vanessa, with the help of Freddy, travel back to the site where they were at, but find no remains of William. They do find the Mimic One and lock it up with the security system under the pizza place. This is the most unlikely theory to be canon. Theory 2. Child Gregory is trapped overnight in the Mega Pizzaplex, and with the help from Grandma Freddy, he defeats Roxy, Chica, and Monty and upgrades Freddy, all while avoiding Vanessa, who is now a security guard, and also Vanny. Gregory and Freddy go down a sinkhole and discover Freddy Fazbear's pizza place underneath the Pizzaplex. Tangle, which is an amalgamation of the old animatronic parts, is something that Gregory and Freddy encounter along the way. Freddy and Gregory then fall through the floor and land in the room that Henry was in all those years ago. Then, out of the power station came the Mimic One in some of the charred parts of William on himself and other parts of the old Spring Bonnie suit, and mimicked William's actions due to himself being on him, and also the glitch trap virus, and being partially built with help from Danny. Gregory fends off Mimic One until the building is relit and the Mimic One tries to escape. And is grabbed by the neck by Tangle. The fire caused an earthquake under the Pizzaplex, thus putting it in ruin. Gregory and Freddy escape, and the two are eventually caught by Vanessa. And because of William's glitch trap, the virus has been transferred into the Mimic One, which is supposedly destroyed. She is set free from the control. Gregory and Vanessa, with the help from Freddy, travel back down to the side they were at. However, they do find the Mimic One still alive and lock it up with the security system under the pizza place. Theory 3. Child Gregory is trapped overnight at the Mega Pizza Plex, and with help from Glamrock Freddy, he defeats Roxy, Chica, Monty, and upgrades Freddy, all while avoiding Vanessa, who is now security guard, and also avoiding Vanny. Gregory and Freddy then choose to find Vanny and stop what she is doing. Freddy gets dismantled by the staff bots that Vanny controls. Gregory then plays the Princess Quest arcade machines in Vanny's office and around the Pizzaplex, and he defeats the boss of the arcade machines, which resemble Glitch Trap's control over Vanessa. Gregory completes the games, which set Vanessa free from the control, and Gregory puts Freddy's head, which is still intact and working, in a bag and head to the front door. Gregory is then adopted by Vanessa. There is an earthquake that destroys the Pizzaplex beyond repair. Gregory and Vanessa travel down to the sinkhole to see what they can find, and to their shock, they find the Mimic One alive. The two use the Vein Mask to build a security system to keep the Mimic One from escaping. Years later, Cassie, a girl who Gregory met and comforted on her birthday when none of her friends showed up, goes looking for Gregory in the now ruined Pizzaplex. She deactivated the security nodes that were put in place to stop the Mimic One from escaping, as the Mimic One was mimicking Gregory's voice. Cassie eventually finds her way into the area where the Mimic One is, and upon realizing that it's not Gregory, she flees, with the Mimic One chasing after her. She finally gets into contact with Gregory, and he directs her back to the elevator to get out. She gets in and is safe from the Mimic One, but Gregory apologizes to Cassie and says that the Mimic One can't escape. Then he sends the elevator, dropping with Cassie still in it. This is most likely the Mimic One mimicking Gregory again. At last, though, Cassie hears the voice of Roxy. And that's all for this video. This took so long to write, edit, and post. Thank you so much for watching. See you guys next time for another gameplay video or video essay. But, hey, what's this? The silver eyes. Ah, crap.